absence of enough money. You make you miserable.
Yes. Okay. So, is our host ready yet?
Yeah, I'm ready.
She's okay.
Oh,
let's,
yeah. Has he?
let's go gather around her in a circle. Go ahead.
Yeah, boss.
Isn't it you that told everybody to? Well, it was you that told us to circle around.
Yeah.
Well,
circling off. That's good.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Yes.
so is
Bitcoin?
Oh, is it?
He said Bitcoin.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's too bad. But anyway,
Mar-
yeah, it's
Margalis
anybody.
why?
This gentleman right here had something to say. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah.
Well, from a personal.
Yeah, we're just gonna give him
Yeah,
the
'cause
host
he
to us,
said-
man.
Yeah, you're gonna have to fire me.
Okay,
though.
anyway. Now I'm retired. I've got all the time in the world, you know. And financially I'm okay. But I'm not I think I like working. You know, I mean I miss working, if that makes any sense.
I've heard that before.
Yeah. I mean I hated my job while I was doing it. But now but now that I'm retired, I miss it. You know, I miss having some structure in my life, I guess is the best way to put it. Now, you know, I can, you know, and I do not recommend retiring at the beginning of a pandemic. It's just not, it was bad timing. But, you know, financially, I'm fine. But, you know, I feel like a prisoner in my own house because I'm older and I'm afraid to get out too much because, you know, COVID, you know, can, you know, I mean, I'm not ready to kick off yet, but, you know, money is, I don't know if, you know, okay, let me just say this. My mother, when she retired, she didn't have a lot of money and and she was struggling to get by and I had to help her out quite a bit, which was, you know, I didn't mind, but so money can make things easier. It's not going to make you happy, I think is basically what I want to get at. I mean, if,
True.
it's what you do with your life. Go ahead.
And if I may, do you feel that you have enough money coming in now that you're retired, that you're happy with the amount of money that you have to pay your bills and provide for you? Well, that's
money's
what
not
it's all
my
about.
problem. Money's not the problem. The problem is I'm practically a virtual prisoner in my house because I'm, you know, with COVID, they've got me so paranoid. I'm afraid. I mean, I've got a granddaughter that lives 60. My plan was when I retired, you know, I was going to take off, travel the country, and all that sort of thing, and it hasn't worked out that way. My mother got sick, so I had to help take care of her for a while, and she passed away. Then COVID kicked in, and you know, I spend 2 hours a day on the phone, talking to my granddaughter. You know, we play games and that sort of thing.
Irene.
But it's not the same as being with her.
Right. Well, COVID's a terrible thing, and it's affected everybody. I can assure you that it is getting better, and Omicron is not as taking hold like you know. It's going to get better, so you'll be able to get outdoors and do more, and things will get a little back to normal. You know,
but
so
I'm not
it's something
getting
we
any
can all
younger
look forward to. It's something we can
I'm
all
not
look
getting any-
forward to. Yeah. So now, who wants to talk about money?
Hold on. I think Mark Delaware is not finished.
I forgot what I was going to say now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean,
yeah,
you know,
it's not the
give
same.
everybody a turn.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, just raise your hand. We have the panel, host
ahead.
panel. So yeah, we
This
can.
young lady'd like to say something. Go right ahead.
Okay.
Oh, I was just saying what he was saying. He was saying that he wasn't getting any help.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, so
I concur.
yes. Okay.
Anybody else want to answer
But
that
he don't.
question too?
He don't. I just. He don't need to be just trapped in and getting depressed being at home like he's saying to you. Get out a little bit. But, you know, fresh air.
Oh, by the way,
Yeah.
you can raise your hand so that way we can see who wants to speak and give like organized stuff.
Give you a megaphone so everyone can hear you.
Yeah, the person, whoever wants to talk, can walk out to the middle and talk. Go ahead. Anybody? Cool.
That boy Jack.
Charge.
That boy Jack.
That's fine. I'm ready
Okay, the
to.
topic is
So okay, maybe you're very talkative today, Marilyn. Maybe you can go ahead and tell us what's wow. What do you think about the
Sure.
money and making money?
Try to
What's
get
the best
somebody
way?
to-
Yep.
Come on,
Mm-hmm.
okay, listen, I'm going to tell you all real quick. Education, by far, is the one way to make money. I mean money. Big money.
Yep.
I live in America. Somebody who might not be from America, you might not have the opportunity to go ahead and have the resources to make money quick. But in the United States, anybody, it doesn't make a difference what you do, find your niche, educate yourself, and then you need to go ahead and push yourself forward to find what it is that you can gather up a little bit of money here, a little money there, put all your eggs in one basket, spread yourself out when you start making money, fertilize it all and let it. Now, how does somebody says, okay, how do I make it grow? How do I make my money grow? Well, you could invest in the stock market, but the stock market's risky.
Yeah, especially in
You
pandemic.
don't want to put your money. Yeah, you don't want to put your. Well, that hey, pandemic. Speaking of the pandemic, and there's a lot of people that made a lot of money in the pandemic, and in the stock market. How did they do it? Well, when the stocks were at $11 a share, $11 a share, it was Moderna before the pandemic. Do you know what their stocks went up to when it was full blown and they got the government grants and the CDC honored everything? People made the stocks went to $160 a share. So from $11 a share to $160 a share, if you put $5,000 in that, you could do the math. I mean, you times that 5,000 by each share. That's a lot of money.
A lot of money.
But it's a lot of money. But now, when you look at making money, okay, it's difficult. People go and they order things. They maybe get online and resell it. Somebody will go to a flea market. Somebody will work on a car. Somebody will work on a computer. Somebody goes to work for somebody else to draw a paycheck. And that's the norm because you don't know what to do. So you go to work, and you go to work for somebody that you draw a paycheck every week. And that, I hate to say this, that's something that
Say it,
you're
Merlin.
defeated
Say it,
when you
man.
do that.
Yeah, let it out, bro.
Unless somebody's going to love you. Unless somebody's going to love you and we love what you're doing for our company. You've made us tons of money, and you know what? We're going to share some of that money with you. And you know what? That never happens. They don't do that.
Exactly.
They don't give you shit.
Well,
And they don't care about you. You
so
know
you're
what? If you,
recommending self-employment, Merlin. You're recommending self-employment.
yes,
No
sir.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, most definitely. Now you can team up, you can go to work with somebody, you could get a group of people, and you could start a business, and it gets complicated. But if you're somebody who's complicated, you can deal with complicated things. But a lot of us are not that complicated. So
What line
make
of
it
work are you in,
easy.
Merlin? What line
Make-
of self-employment are you in?
Yeah.
As a matter of curiosity.
What's your
I'm
niche?
in the salvage business. So what I do, salvage.
Marine salvage.
All any kind of salvage. It could be a house that's run down that I salvaged, rebuilt, and resold. It could be I bought the parts off something to resell. It could be I bought a whole truckload of things that were returned to the store. I bought a whole pallet of these and resold them for this. It's profitable, but I don't want to talk about what I do because you know what? It doesn't make a difference what I do. You can do anything.
It's good to talk
do
about
anything.
Somebody, you might give somebody else an idea.
Yeah, we like it when people share their personal stories. It really helps.
Well, okay, I'll tell you. I'll share a personal story. If I'm that entertaining that you want me to share a personal story.
Woohoo, Marilyn!
Okay?
Yes.
Let's go,
I'm gonna
man.
share one with
Yeah,
you.
I don't see any hand raises, so yeah, take the floor.
Okay, I'm gonna share one with you. Here it is. I had some money because I bought a duplex. It was the first home I ever bought, and I was 30 years old. And I bought this duplex, and I bought it because I could assume the loan. You can't. I didn't have the money. A duplex.
Flat? No, I don't do duplex.
It's like a,
Yeah, I think it's like
two apartments, one above the other, or they could. What motivated me was the fact that I had income. This guy was going to sell me this house. I reassumed the loan, and I was able to move into the downstairs apartment and rent out the upstairs apartment. So when I sold that house, I turned around and made $30,000. Okay?
good job.
Where did you get
I believe.
the seed money.
Yeah.
Where did you get the money?
I had no money.
Where'd you get the money
I had no money.
Hey,
I
credit.
had no money.
You had
I
to have
assumed his
credit.
loan.
Got to know.
Yeah.
I assumed his
Credit.
loan, and no, I didn't have no. I didn't have nothing. This guy had a rundown house where there was damage to it and everything because he rented out to people. And he didn't want to do the work, and he just wanted me to take over the payments because he didn't want those payments. So it didn't cost me. Well, I had to pay some money at the attorney's office, but it was just like $300.
Credit to be able to
Also
get it.
doing business.
No, I had no credit.
Mm-hmm.
Back when they don't do this no more. You
Oh,
can't
that's
do
right.
what I
Okay,
did.
Okay, I got you. You did say
They
what
don't
that
let
is.
you.
Yeah, I got
No
you. You
banks
said-
let you assume the loan. Why doesn't a
Right.
bank let you assume the loan? You know why? Bank don't let you assume the loan because they can't make money off you.
Right.
Nobody. They don't. It doesn't happen. Banks have gotten smart. They've gotten to the point where now it's so controlled. The credit cards, the banks. I mean, you're actually,
It's
we're
hard.
victims to the need of borrowing. And if you borrow,
Would
you
recommend
could get
investing
yourself in
property
trouble.
now?
Huh?
Would you recommend investing in property now?
Well, property
Oh,
is
hell
real
yeah.
high now. Boom.
Listen, you can. What the interest rates are. First of all, nobody's going to lend you in the United States. Nobody's going to lend you any money on. They just don't do it. It'll just lend on houses.
Here in
But
North
with that
Carolina,
being said-
the market is booming.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, you never go wrong if you can afford a piece of property. Never. You'll never lose money.
Is it Florida
Something's
gonna
gotta be-
beneath the waves in about 20
Something's
years?
got to be really wrong to lose money. But now, let me get. I don't want to take. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. So I had the $30,000. Okay, for the first time in my life, I had $30,000. I was like, oh God, this is more money. I mean, I never had that kind of money. $30,000. So what I do,
That's a little bad.
I'm living in North Carolina. Go ahead,
Oh, you from?
and I see a sign. Yeah, I see a sign, and it's on this property, and the area is real nice. And the sign was stuck up the day before, and I stopped and I looked at that sign, and I said, "This property's mine." And I kicked the sign over, and I got on the phone, and I couldn't get in touch with the people that owned it. And then finally, my wife got in touch with them, And she calls me back. She goes, I'm sorry, but they sold it already. And I said, what do you mean they sold it already?
He sold my property?
They sold the property already. It was just the sign just went up in the yard. I lived right down the street from where the sign was put. How could they sell it that fast? I'm like, what the hell, you know? So I'm sort of pissed. So I go ahead and I call the guy anyway. And I call him and I asked him a question. I said, well, you know, hey, is the land go back to here and how many acres is it exactly? And he answered my question. And I was wondering, why did he answer my question if, you know, if he's already sold the land? Then right after that, he goes, well, I believe I already have it sold. Oh, key word, I believe. And then I said to him, I said, what do you mean you believe you sold it? I said, did you sell it or not? And he says, well, he goes, we shook hands. And I said, well, let me ask you a question. And he said, sure. And I said, why so cheap? And he said, cheap? He says, you think it was cheap? He goes, and I said, yeah, I think it's too cheap. I said, I'll give you $10,000 more for it. And he goes, okay, you got it. So the property was $70,000. Okay? I only had $30,000, and I told I was giving him $10,000 more. So now all of a sudden, there's $50,000 that I don't. I told my wife, I said, go down to the, you know, get them under a contract, put up $500 earnest money, and try to string it out for about a month and a half before closing, and I'll sell the front part of that property off for $50,000. And I put his sign back up in the yard, and I wrote my number on it. And when I was trying to write my phone number on that sign, and a lady pulled up, and she goes, "Are you selling this property?" And I said, "Yes, I am." I said, "I got 5 acres here for $50,000." She says, "We want it." We went to closing. We had one person in one room, one person in the other room, me in the other room, closed the whole deal, and I ended up with almost 10 acres of land, 11 acres of land for $30,000. Then, a year after that, sold 1 acre of that property for $30,000 and got all my money.
Wow.
To this day, I live on that land. Now, was I lucky? Did I hit a home run? Was it like winning the lottery? Yes.
Did you?
All those things.
I got a question.
Sounds a bit
Did you
dodgy to me.
did you invest in other things too along the way, or was that where you
Oh
stopped?
my God, are you kidding me? I could go on and on all day. I bought a backhoe, right? It was at a company that bought another company, and they were getting rid of the old backhoes. And I went there and I put a bid on it, and I knew somebody that told me what the it was big. Bid on the backhoe, okay? It was $12,000. Huh?
What's a
Like farm
Backhoe.
equipment?
Backhoe. It was a 310 John Deere backhoe. And there was 2 of them.
Да, давай, наверное, знаешь,
And I got them for $12,000. I got both backhoes. And then immediately after I bought those 2 backhoes, I sold one for $12,000. And I got the other backhoe for free.
Right.
So, and I can go on and on and on.
Yeah, it's just
I mean, I could tell you stories like this all day long. Now, is it difficult to do? Yes, it's hard to do. But you know what? If you put yourself out there and you're a hustler and you make things happen, things will happen for you. And that's what it's all about.
Can't make it happen
So-
behind the
Not in
walls.
the middle of the Great Recession, Merlin. So it depends.
I
on the
didn't
market
live-
you're in. I know you did.
Well, that's that's true. That's true. But we're not in a Great Depression. You know, you know, how old are you?
2 years older than Muswell. I'm pushing on 68.
Okay, well, so and you are from the United States.
No, the United Kingdom. I'm a cowboy from London.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure how,
Cowboy.
London is a little different, as far as in America. I know that there is a lot of poorer people outside of London. The economy's not the best.
What
And
we
you're
hear is like places like San Francisco, you've got a lot of what you call them homeless on the streets and all that stuff.
Oh,
Mm.
it's
Baltimore,
tremendous.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I was
yeah,
in
that's
I was in
everywhere.
California not too long ago, and they had mattresses right on the street corners. Right
You
on
don't
the
have
street
that in London.
corners.
You don't have that in England.
Yeah.
I've never seen that in England. No.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, they
y'all
probably don't allow it. Yeah, they probably don't allow it. We got a lot of homeless people.
Y'all don't have.
Oh, yeah,
one?
'cause
homeless people in Africa.
we do have homeless, but not like San Francisco. It's an epidemic out there, I believe. I've been to San Francisco
Okay, well-
years ago.
Well, come on out here in the middle of the floor, and you can talk about it, and we'll answer your questions.
we-
And ask you questions. Go ahead.
We talk in a circle, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Ask questions. Fire, man.
Yeah, we
Yeah, I
usually
was-
try to just do
There you
open-
go.
I
We
mean,
got somebody that wants to talk. Go ahead.
No. You don't dominate
don't
the
wanna talk.
meeting.
Yes, because Coco actually has her hand up, and ladies first. So let me give you a megaphone, Coco.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. How do I pronounce your name, by the way? Can you correct? Okay, megaphone.
I have my hand up. Oh, I didn't even know I pressed it.
Oh, okay.
My
Sometimes.
bad.
Yay! But you do have a megaphone, so you can take over the floor. You don't have to, but you can.
Go ahead. I was listening.
So do you feel like you're wealthy, or do you feel like you can label your monetary successes? That a thing for?
Going to me, bro.
Yeah.
I would say,
Yeah.
well, I'm 25 at the moment. I think I'm okay at the moment. I have savings to do some investing. Whereas there is stuff where I could do better in regards to money, in regards to depositing, investing. I think I'm okay. But the thing about life is, nothing's for certain. I could lose my job next week and back to square one. But I'm okay. I'm on it at the moment, luckily. It's all
You
right.
say you do what?
You say, bro?
You say you do?
I build engines.
Oh, cool.
okay.
So like new engines for instance, one of the cars being Rolls Royce. Doing it 6 years. V12,
Oh, you in a-
V8, 4-cylinder,
You're in a good
3-cylinder.
field. You ain't got nothing to worry about.
I am.
It's
the issue
in
is
demand
because people-
skill too.
Yeah, you good. You
Yes.
You could lose your job and
Right,
be
well.
working again. So you good. It's like
It's
me. I'm in the
possible, because-
transportation business.
Ah. So
CDL,
you're
Logistics.
Truck drivers, trucks, things of that nature.
issue with
But
mine is
isn't the automatic lorries, the self-driving lorries, a threat to you?
I know they're
Really?
going to it. They're
Uh-huh.
trying to
Man,
go
how
to
long-
that, but I don't see that work.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I mean,
100 yards.
yeah, I don't see that. It'll probably be a while before they do have the self-driving trucks.
Yeah, it's out there, right?
Yeah, it's out there.
Yeah,
It's
AI.
too much
Transportation
actual
business is always
business.
needed.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can't have that many trucks on the road
Jobs in
compared to the
various
business.
industries due to technology. That's said. Hence a lot of talk about universal basic income in the States anyway.
Well, yeah,
lot of
that's what a
people
lot-
lose their jobs.
I didn't hear about
Just like the IT business, a lot of people lost their job when they started going where you don't need no one to come to your house or to your office if you don't have those skill sets. You know, everything is digital now.
I think both is the point of education. You've got to be educated in the right area. You know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, got skill set in the right area, and nobody seems to know what the right area is going to be in the future. There seems to be considerable doubt as to what the right area is.
Cyber security and networking, that's going to be the future. That's what we should have done.
What about 3D modeling?
3D model.
That is great. I have done 3D modeling.
Yeah. Those are good
It's
investments.
great. Like I built a
Oh,
drone and 3D modeled the actual frame itself. It's carbon fiber. 3D modeling is good, but it's a skill that a lot of people have. It's not as rare as you imagine.
good.
Like in my work, a lot of people do it. If I wanted to get into that, people have already been doing it 10 years.
Mhm.
It's crazy. Yeah.
How do you think?
But
the
to
best
answer your
way-
question too, go ahead.
But go ahead. What was you saying?
To answer his question about the self-driving trucks, to me, it's more now. A lot of people want to be a truck driver. Truck driver. You could be a freight broker. You don't need no truck. You don't need no equipment. That's gonna always be needed. So you can move from that field to move into something else. So there's still
My
other
brother
ways
is a
to
trucker in the
make
US.
money.
He used to work with JB Hunt. I don't know what company he works with now, but he came over and he's been doing trucking in the US since 2017. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
my
JB
brother
Hunt is a big company.
in the UK, so I can't go.
Hi, yeah. British Army. So we say about the British Army.
Yeah, my brother joined the British Army in 2012. Yep, 2012.
Right.
My family is all over the world, but I'm still in Africa. I don't want to leave.
Oh.
Cool.
Whereabouts in
Yeah.
Africa are you?
Yeah. What country?
I'm in Nairobi, Kenya.
Kenya. Uh-huh.
Oh, I think Kenya has the most perfect climate. Like in top, I think it's top in rate of climate in the world.
Yeah, when people from the West come to Kenya, they don't want to go. They want to stay in Kenya.
Yeah, I was checking the level of life and different, characteristics of different countries, and Kenya is, I think, was the one of the most optimal places to live. No wonder why our ancestors were born there.
To Kenya. Yeah.
Oh wow!
Well,
Kenya,
I want to
yeah.
tell you something interesting because you're talking about money. There is a pastor in the US. I think he's from Maryland,
Yeah.
Baltimore, Maryland. Yes, and what happens is he realized that when you guys were being COVID, what was it? COVID
Pandemic
stimulation
lockdown.
money, was it?
Oh yeah, stimulus checks.
Yeah.
The stimulus checks.
You are given stimulus checks. Yes, that's what he used to call it, stimulus checks. And
Fair
every
though,
time
in
he used to
English,
come, every time he goes to gather stimulus, he used to come to Africa. He would say that the reason why I'm coming is because when I'm in my home back in Maryland, Baltimore, I'm poor. When I'm here, I'm rich.
Yes, yes.
My dollars can take me further. And I got the concept. I realized that's why people from the West live in Kenya. Because if you're a poor person in the West, you become a rich person in Africa.
Exactly. Yeah. With
Your
Russia, it's the
dollar
same.
or your pound.
Yep. Yep. So what?
Yeah, even Russians. We even have Russians here in Nairobi, Kenya.
Oh really? Oh really? I thought about
We have got Asians.
Uh-huh.
We have Russians. We have got Eastern Europeans. We've got British people. We've got American people. We've got Canadian people. I mean, sometimes I think that the only reason why they're coming here and the only reason why Africans want to go to the West is because we're gonna leave you guys behind here, and before we know it, the US has moved to Africa.
to Kenya. Why not? Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense. With the pandemic changed a lot of situations because people work over the internet. They have distant learning, distant work, and stuff like that. And a lot of people, they started thinking about moving from larger places like megapolises to smaller places, so that way they can have more freedom, they can get more for the same money, and still they can keep their jobs. And that's probably good. I'm not sure about the opposite situation where people used to go to bigger cities and like more developed countries to make some money, for example. So yeah, when I am from Russia, so when I was in the States in my student program, I was shocked. Like, how is it possible to be poor in this country? Like, because you spend like so little, like the percentage of money that you spend, and like they cover like your even the basic income actually covers a lot of things that you need. I'm like, wow, this is really easy to, save money and
I'll answer that.
yeah. So
I'll answer that for you.
what? Yeah.
Yes, it is true. Like for example, just now, we just ate supper, right? And I gave my wife $2.05. I'm trying to convert 250 shillings to US dollar. It will be amounting to 2.5 dollars.
Mm-hmm.
And for $2.5, we've taken a decent meal. Where you- my family are just me, my wife, and my small son. And in my main house, I've got my old parents and the three of their adopted kids that I have adopted. And my sister is over, and she's come there also with her son. But they too would kind of use $3.05 for a decent meal.
For
But the
one person?
problem is not the money that you use.
For
No, for the
yeah,
whole,
3.5 a
for the
person.
whole family.
Wow,
The
yeah,
whole
that's
family.
that's really cheap. I'm taking tickets to Kenya.
Yes, exactly. Because one reason is because food is grown by the people for their own consumption. So in the
Yes.
West, people who grow their food, they grow it so they can sell it to the rest of the country. For us, it's subsistence farming. So if the neighbor's gonna grow extra food, they're gonna sell the extra food to the neighbor who doesn't do the farming.
Buy locally.
Also, the reason why people are still poor is because there are no job opportunities. Yes, the life is very cheap. There are no job opportunities to complement cheap life. If there were job opportunities, I think Africa would be the richest continent in the world.
Yeah,
There are just no
hopefully.
job opportunities.
Hopefully Wakanda is coming, wealthier countries. Yeah, I think this is the biggest problem. The places where where I live is the mountain area. It's really cool that we have one of the 7 peaks of the world, and the nature is really beautiful, and we have very unusual, unique places, but the economy is very, unstable, and there's no job opportunities, as you mentioned. So you don't feel happy even when you're surrounded by beautiful places, because the economy, people are not happy, and
now.
yeah. So unfortunately, but hopefully this change, the switch to distant working, maybe it's gonna help. Like if you can make money over the internet, or I think these. These advices that we discussed today, like buying the property and doing some things, it may work, maybe not as effectively, but these systems, I think they work all over the world. When you buy property, it's actually one of the most stable investments, and if you combine it with some venture investments like startups or business or some other things, I think it may lead to some passive income, like when you're 40 or something. That's my plan, at least.
Well, that's great because unfortunately, land is very prime even here in Africa. But the problem is the resident people don't have the capital to buy that land. Who has
Yes.
the capital?
Yes.
Who has the capital? Can you guess? Who has the capital?
Yes, Westerners.
Westerners.
Yay.
And actually, that is why I'm a bit well up, because when Westerners come, I offer like consultancy. We buy land for them. We build.
Okay.
And I feel good because I'm earning, but in my mind, I really am not happy, because land they are buying belongs to the people, and eventually the people will not have anything to live on.
Yes, and also, the market prices, they rise because of there's everybody, there are many Westerners who are ready to buy. That's why local people get higher prices for property. Yes. For example, in Russia, if you want to buy a property, you can take a mortgage in a bank, it's going to take around 8% a year. But the trick is that you can't you can't sell that property until you pay the whole amount of money in 7 years, 10 years, 15 years. Mostly the average is if you pay very actively, it's going to be 7 years, and you can't sell it, and it's not yours, it's bank's property until you fulfill the contract and stuff like that. So it makes it much more difficult.
You can't sell the equity.
Yep.
Sell it till you've paid off the mortgage. You can't transfer the mortgage. You get a bigger mortgage on a bigger place.
I'm not sure. I'm still learning. I'm just still trying to figure out. Does anybody have experience?
A little bit.
Yeah, can you share,
What is
guys?
it you're asking?
The mortgage, the question that Paul asked.
Well, there's several different mortgages. What it is if you're a VA, VA mortgage.
What is
you go
VA?
to Get a mortgage if you VA is if you've been in the military service.
Okay, veteran. Mm-hmm.
VA loan, right? And then of course there's a lot of different kinds of mortgages. So let's say for conventional, is and they scrutinize. They will look at the house that you're looking at, and then they'll say, well, we're not loaning you the money on this house because there needs to be screens on the windows, and there and well, that's not conventional. That's FHA, but they'll you know you have to jump through hoops. In other words, to get certain loans, you've had to make sure you've worked for 2 years. So there's a lot of requirements and a lot of paperwork to get loans. And, it's, that's what everybody does now because they don't have the money. Me personally, I think that a person needs to live below their means, not above them. So
Good point.
when people go to get a loan, they'll talk them into a bigger piece of property that, and that's not necessarily the greatest thing. I guess the standard.
Subprime mortgages and the housing crash in 2008, was it?
Yeah. But the standard for getting a loan is usually your income for the week. So if you're paying a monthly mortgage, if you're making $500 a week, then that would be your mortgage payment for the month. So a lot of people usually base it on that. So if you can afford $500 a week, then you can afford a mortgage of $500 payments.
So it's 25% basically. Yeah, 25% of your income.
Smart rule of thumb, and then you're not going overboard. You're not living above your means. And of course, when you live below your means, there's a lot of opportunity. Why? Because you have more money. Money makes money.
Yep, definitely. That's first million, I think, is the most difficult part. There's a joke that there's in Russia.
Million.
Yeah.
My first million was very difficult.
Yeah, in Russia there's a saying
Very
that
hard to make.
yeah, 1 million. The first million is always hard to learn, hard to earn. It's almost impossible. It's possible only to steal it. So in Russia, only stealing money basically from the government.
Very hard. It was very hard for me to make my first million. But I'll tell you something. Now I've got to a point financially where it's really hard to hang on to it. Because once you get to a certain point, then it's like your money's going out and you got so many people, where you're going through thousands of dollars every week. It's not hundreds, it's thousands. And you got to be careful because, there's people, when you have money, there's people with their hand out. And if you get sued, the lawyers are going to look at you and they're going to say, oh, look at this. Look what he's got.
Money back.
I mean, oh, yeah. So making money's a beautiful thing. Hanging on to it is difficult.
Yeah. So whatever. Yeah. If you're poor. Hold on, Paul. Let me give you a megaphone.
Yeah.
Oops. Too much attention from both hosts. There you go.
A lot of people lost money to what's called subprime mortgages, particularly in the United States. And was it Lehman Brothers went to the wall? Was it Lehman Brothers? Because they lent to people who were living above their means, or the mortgage lenders were trying to make a commission by lending to people who couldn't afford to pay it back. And when the housing crisis came, a lot of people lost their houses. Isn't that right, Merlin?
People were lying. They were lying on their, the banks were getting familiar with like builders and stuff, and these builders were fabricating information, and the banks were just handing them tons of money, and they were getting in more debt and building more houses and getting in more debt, and then the bubble busted. But yeah, the the people in the banks were making a lot of money when they were making the loans, so they just were pushing them out, and they were, the banks really were corrupt, and they are what caused, us to have recession and go through with what we went through. Banks, and they should have put some of them bankers. They should have, and they did put some of them in prison, but I mean, there wasn't enough of them that were put in prison. But it was a terrible thing. It'll never happen again because, the federal government's going to watch them now like a hawk. But it was abuse of power, and they pretty much had a monopoly. And it's complicated, but that was the gist of it.
Yeah, so it can happen. So although they say it's good to invest in bricks and mortar, as Merlin says, you've got to be very careful what you're doing. Yeah. If you've got a skill, like you do up old property, well, that's adding value. To, it's not just hustling; it's adding value to society, doing up old property.
So yeah, properties is one of the main stable investments, I guess. Do you have any other ideas what could generate money? For example, like again, buying property requires a large sum of money, like a lot of capital. But maybe there's another way to make some money, like like a business or something. Do you have some experience?
Come to my auction house.
With the salvaging business?
Come to my auction house. Yep. Or you could go online. And what you do is you buy things in bulk, then you break them down and resell them on the internet.
Yeah. They use a site called Bittergy.
What part of North Carolina you in? What part of North Carolina you in?
I'm in Richmond.
You in Virginia?
I can hardly hear you.
Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you said you was in North Carolina.
I am. I got a place in Richmond too, but in North Carolina, it's Raleigh.
Okay, I'm in Raleigh.
That's where the business is.
Okay.
Wow, cool. You're from the same city.
Yeah, I'm in Raleigh.
New startup, 80% of new startups fail. That's the figure.
Yeah, I even heard that 90%.
80% of I don't know which country, certainly in the United Kingdom, 80% of new startups fail.
I heard that 90% of entrepreneurs fail as well. Like just yesterday, I saw the same number.
If at first you don't succeed, try and try again.
Yeah. Don't give up, right?
Yep.
Give up.
Eventually, something got to hit.
Listen, this is the most important words that I can tell everybody in this room. Very important.
Keep trying.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Yep.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
The end of that expression is nor still more loss. But Bird is quite right.
Yep.
If you don't take a bit of a risk, you ain't going to get nowhere. Some people can't help doing that, but nothing ventured, nothing gained. But the end of that is nor still more lost. There is a risk to anything you do.
Oh yes.
And there's a risk
always
to
a risk.
not doing anything as well.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Good point.
Yep. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, we come back to this topic of education because whenever you have experience, I think that experience is the most valuable thing. Even not the education alone, but life education. I would say, like this knowledge and experience that you have that helps you make choices, that helps you, take the pieces of the puzzle into one picture and do those things that you discussed, for example, today, like you with that property. That's pretty cool. Yes. Okay. So I see some new faces as well. Orthofunky, welcome. We're talking. Hey, also Will. It's your first time, so I didn't recognize you. Hey, welcome. It's Theory of Everything. It's a weekly event where everybody joins to discuss one particular topic that we choose every week. So it's an open floor. We have a talk show, so people can share their ideas, share their thoughts, their personal experiences. So that way we learn from each other and expand our mindset. So, if you want to share anything about the importance of money and is it how to make money? Like, I think that's the most important part, how to make money. And any thoughts around that? So, if you hear anybody talking about something interesting, you can just segue into any topic and comment. So, and also you can raise your hand so that way we can give you megaphones and everybody can hear you. Okay, what else? I don't see any hand raises, so we can just continue talking. Yeah, recently I started reading some books that kind of, help getting some information on making money and that mindset that actually helps you to, a lot of that in literature. And I think I see some ideas that are constantly repeated in different sources. The first one is having property. I think that's one of the main goals if you want to be financially, I would say, more stable. Property is the good answer. And another point that I noticed in different books that they always say that you have to kind of structuralize your income and think about the amount of money that you're going to not only save money, but also to put them aside for investing and try not to touch the same amount of money, but just keep that fraction of your income, which is normally 10%, what they say, for just investment. So don't invest and keep investing. Yeah. So the money should work for you and you should not work for money. So it's my theory. I don't know. It's no practice for me. But we have some hand raises. Yeah. Ultra Funky, are you ready to speak?
Oh, yeah. Please. I just jumped in and I thought that the thing that Paul was talking about, I didn't connect that to the you're talking about right now. I didn't see the connection between this with the knowledge and so on. You give me some more. How did you
food for thought.
Topic?
Mm-hmm.
Because I have some thoughts, so I'm not just going down a road that's not correct for you.
You can just share thoughts.
Yeah. Take that road.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was connected to risk. But I was thinking like this, I said, when you said that you needed education to do things, and it's not only education, you can have a school to go by to be successful. And I would say being successful is not only being educated, it's also the how do you say, the culture how you've been raised. Depending on who you've been raised by, the way they think, they will give you something. Like I say that you get it with the mother's milk. So I would say you think differently if you have grown up in a doctor's family than you maybe do if you have grown up in a worker no, not entrepreneurs, making cars. Maybe the family is working for Ford or something, making cars. There's a different way of thinking. Not saying anything bad about any of them, but you also have your culture, the way you value things, and sometimes you get spot on that you have the values that align with the way the world is working. So that takes you a good way forward, and the culture you can also have is the one that you're the person that's grinding. So in your family, or the way the culture you get from your mother and your father is that work hard, and you don't have to be so smart to get anywhere. It's just that you want to put in the hours to get there. That's the most important. It's not how smart you are. if you're smart, you can probably do it easier. But if you're a person that can grind, you will always get there. And the other thing I was saying with the properties, like you said with properties, you said that you get rich by having properties. I would say like this, and this is an important thing: you have money. If you have it in the bank, your money is sleeping. If the money is out there working, it's working for you. You should always put your money in a place where the money works day and night. So when you sleep, your money works for you. So that when you own properties, the value of the house goes up all the time, even if you sleep. So I would say like always think like this: never sleep. That's the important thing. So that's why I think when Aziz says property is because it's never happened that you will lose money on a property except if you buy it at the wrong time, and that is because you did a mistake. So you can lose, but if you're fairly smart enough, you won't do that. You will be smart about it. And I would say like this: owning a lot of properties. Some people say that the biggest thing you can do in life is buying your own house. It's such a big thing. I have sold and bought houses like, yeah, I don't know,
Gloves.
a lot. Not trying to be cool about it or something, but I would say like this: when you do it enough times, even if it's hard and you don't know if you're doing the right thing, it's gonna get easier every time you do it. And in the end, it's just gonna be like, I'm gonna pour myself a cup of milk. So I'm just saying like, it's never hard, you know. You just have to go through it, grind. But just to connect things you said, Azzy, with why properties I think is a good thing, and the other thing that maybe not education is the most important thing to where you need to go. Can be other things. Okay, sorry, that's all.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. I see. Yeah, sure. I was going to give you a megaphone, and also Paul had his hand raised. So let me give megaphones to probably both of you because you're far from each other, so you're not going to echo. Hopefully, if you do, okay, hold on. Yep.
Can you all hear me? What he was saying, I just and a lot of people heard what I said earlier.
Good.
But on what he said, it's true, and I just want to say one thing. It's a little personal to put this information out there, but I don't have a high school equivalency. I never graduated from high school, and I had a reading problem where I had dyslexia, so I have a lot of. With that being said, you don't need an education to be successful, but knowing what I had to do and knowing how far I could have went faster if I would have had that education, is get that education. It's so important, and it is important, but it's not. Hey, you know what? It's not. You don't need it. You need the ambition, the drive. But an education's a beautiful thing, and to have it and educate yourself about the world, the streets, everything. You know.
Yeah.
It's important, and that's all, I just wanted to add to what he said. That is very true.
Sir. Thanks for sharing that. Will.
Yeah, because first time when I heard that phrase, that education is number one, I mean, like, oh, okay, I'm a little bit skeptical about it because I'm kind of smart, like educated. I have 2 diplomas and I'm accountant and whatever, and I have another profession that feeds me, and I know a lot about the world, but it doesn't make me any richer. I think this is a whole different talent of making money. This is like entrepreneurial. No, well, yes, many other factors, but I think that ability inside you, I think that's more, it's a little bit different. It's not just knowledge. I think that's like that spirit basically of entrepreneurship, or like some that's a different talent, I think. But yeah, all parts are important. Connections. Yeah, sure.
Can I say it from the external perspective? And the thing is that
Merlin, do you mind muting yourself while you don't speak? It's a little bit noisy.
How do I do it?
There's a button. There's a round menu on your left, and if you hit the like the voice microphone symbol, it should be red. Hold on. Yes, you are muted. Yes, thank you. I'm gonna mute myself too.
Okay, so I would put this, and you tell me if it's correct, Azzy, but I say it like this: knowledge is freedom, and that's time. So the more knowledge you have, the more unique you are. More people are going to look for what you have to give. So you're educated, there are going to be less people of you if you're highly educated. Higher you go in the hierarchy, the more special you're going to be, and the more time you will have, because people are going to wait for you. People are going to say, okay, this guy knows something. I need the knowledge he has or she has, and I can wait for it just so I can have it, but I cannot go anywhere else because nobody else has this knowledge, because it's very scarce, this thing. So I would give this person a priority to do. So when you say, Merlin, that I would go there much faster, I would say maybe not you would go there much faster, but you would go there more easily. And that would feel like faster because your knowledge give you time. That gives you freedom. That's how I would see the external way of working when you look at how do you say how people perceive you in the way that when as you say that you need education, that's something you collect by yourself. But if you look from the other perspective, the persons that give you the time and the freedom, that's what they buy from you. I just wanted to say that so we have one. We not look into ourselves all the time.
Sure, just raise your hand.
The way it's the way it is.
Oh, my hand is raised. Yeah, I understand.
Oh, cool. Let me give you a
agree.
microphone soon. Yeah, we have some more people who would like to join. So let me. There's a whole bunch of hand raises. John Ellis, Paul Simon. Yeah. Okay. I think. Yeah. Okay, John. Let me give you a microphone first. Hold on. Where are you on the list? There you go. Thanks, Mendes. So, speak your truth.
I appreciate that. Yeah, so I agree with the gentleman down there in the blue and red jacket about the education, but I do believe to myself as well that education is only one part of the whole. You know what I mean? I feel like you can sit there all day reading books, but until you start applying it, guys, nothing's going to happen. You get what I mean? So the other thing is, too, I would say to everybody else is, you know, you kind of want to figure out what path you're supposed to be on. It's just like anybody, you walk into a library or something, and you just look around and you grab a book, and you learn something random that's not going to benefit you or other people around you.
Exactly.
What's the point? Now, if you have an individual who actually studies in their craft and picks up as much knowledge as they can and gets 10 steps ahead of someone who has to learn it physically, I think that's when you really start bridging the gap and becoming a better person, whether it's entrepreneurial or even in your regular job. So those are the huge things that I've kind of gathered over the years just in my own profession, which I'm in real estate. So for me, like I said, it's a very time-consuming effort, but nonetheless, like I said, I've made a way to carve out my own little standing. But I've noticed something, being on peers with others that have been in the game for 20 plus years, and be able to stand on that solidness after 4 or 5 years in the game. It was all due to just knowledge and understanding and reading. So that's one thing I would definitely add to what he was saying about knowledge is a massive tool, because it really is. It's something you can learn someone else's whole life, their falls, their mistakes, everything, and the confines of maybe 100 to 200, maybe 300 pages. So that's one thing I definitely would say to keep in mind as well. So that's all I have to say.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. That's great. Okay, let me give a megaphone to okay, what was that? Paul Simon, right? Let me give you a megaphone. There you go.
You now. Mine goes to Marlin, and mine is you and I the same. I have a diploma certificate attached to me, and in Africa that would be considered not educated. But hey, things I know. Sometimes the university graduates they call me to solve them for them as an uneducated. Because what I believe is important is the knowledge, the experience, the skills. A degree and you sit on it will not bring you a career. You have to go out there and prove yourself still. And I have seen so many people with masters, with doctorates, with PhDs, and they die poor because they over expected themselves. They thought that graduating and having these high diplomas will actually mean something in life. But in today's world, if you look at people like Bill Gates, if you look at people like Elon Musk, they don't, it's not like they're gonna give you many certificates to their name. What they're gonna give you is the ability to think outside the box. So sometimes
Mm-hmm.
education system that we have, call it the convoy belt education system, does it keep churning out people with degrees. They don't have creativity. And creativity means that you don't need to come finding a job or unemployment. What you need to do is to find solutions to the world's problem, or actually create a job environment that you yourself can employ other people. People so sometimes who works for me have degrees, and I don't have a degree. They work for me. Why? So skill, knowledge is more important than education, and that's why traditionally, if for example I'm a doctor, because there were no schools for big doctors, I would take and you be my apprentice, and you are going to know my trade through apprenticeship, which is the biggest form of education there is. And so that would be my point. I'll just second what you said, Marlene, and what you said, Ultra Funky.
Yay, thanks for sharing. Yeah, as they say, the businessmen or like the rich people are those who can make smart people, work for them. So, yes, it happens very, very often. Ultra Funky, I see your physical hand raise. So let me. Oh, we have some new feature. Okay. Oh, Ray also, and this guy and 8. You do have your hand. Oh no, actually that's not participation. I'm trying. I'm trying.
Ah,
There
okay.
you go. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The thing I wanted to say to Paul and to Ellis, I listened to them, is that what I hear, and I don't know if I
Peanut
understand
butter
it correct, but I
jelly.
would say like what I hear is that knowledge is important. I would say that knowledge is not
Peanut
something
butter
important to
jelly.
you or any
Peanut
use
butter
of you if you
jelly.
cannot put it
Peanut
into
butter jelly.
practicality.
Peanut butter jelly.
So
Peanut
you have
butter
to
jelly.
connection between
Peanut
it. So
butter
education
jelly.
is not meaning that you can use the thing you've been educated in. So I would say that you have to have the possibility to jump between these things. And lots of people are very, and lots of people are very practical, but not many people, not many, but there are people, less people, I believe at least, that is doing the both things, and jump through it. And that connects to the thing said, because he's an entrepreneur. When he takes people that is highly more educated than him, and he has the qualities and the personality to make these people work together, that's a trait that you can study it. I have studied it in university, but I would say that it's a very hard thing to really understand. So this is something that it's hard to teach people. So I would say that. Yeah, there are some things you need to work with the practical, to get there. And I'm always so impressed with the entrepreneurs, because studying in university, I've seen that it's a very, very complex way of thinking and making people join the journey you're on. So I'm just taking my hat off to you, Paul, and everybody else that's entrepreneurs having companies and so on. But I just wanted to say that it's more practical than I would say it's theoretical when it comes to certain things. So it doesn't matter if there's a university. You can study it in university. You still have to be a certain kind of person to be able to do it. Just that. Thank you.
I will say one thing to add on to what he was saying. Just
Hold on, hold on.
real quick.
Sure. Let me give you a microphone so everybody can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Hold on.
I'll take that mic. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thanks
Am
for
I good?
sharing that.
Oh, I don't have it yet. Oh.
I got caught.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, perfect.
Finally.
Thank you. So with what he was saying, I usually liken like knowledge and books and stuff to like tools, right? I mean, if you're gonna go ahead and build a bookshelf, there's certain tools you need. So again, like I said, with his journey to be an entrepreneur, I'm sure there's certain things that he needed to learn over time that were conducive to what he was trying to build and become and get to. So that's more so how I look at it, and that's kind of more so what I've done as well. I mean, if I need to if I'm reading a book about some nonsensical randomness about anything that just that's off base towards what my end goal is. I mean, you got to take everything into consideration, from leadership to, being a manager to, just learning different things about about your specific passion and niche. But again, you're not going to see a carpenter reading a book about some type of random like space exploration. And maybe if it's a hobby or something like that, but you're not going to be reading it in the sense of use it for something. You know what I mean? So it's kind of one of those.
It's not
exactly.
Yeah, that sounds like me.
But again, that's why looking at the people who have come before you who have been great in these fields, and that's all different styles. So for me personally, I spent a lot of my years before even getting into the point where I owned my own business and had employees and all that stuff. I spent a lot of those years beforehand reading about great entrepreneurs and great business owners, and it didn't really matter what business it was. It was just kind of getting the mindset itself and how you deal with certain problems and overcome them. But it was a nice way. You obviously have to learn a lot of things on your own as you're walking through that valley. But at the end of the day, too, having these guys that you kind of read about and understanding the pitfalls they hit. So when you run into them, you're not like, hey, look, I'm freaking out. I don't know what to do. You can always just flip back to that book or read this next book about, so-and-so who started this multi-billion-dollar company or whatever it is. So that's kind of my last 2 cents on it. But I definitely think that everybody here has got the capability. Keep in mind too, guys, everything that happens in this universe is literally based off of thought. So even us being in this reality right now, someone thought this up. You know what I'm saying? So there's nothing. If someone could think this up, this of a design in a realm almost, to where we're all in different countries, different worlds, everything else. We're sitting here talking to each other like we're right across the room from each other. If someone could think this up, I'm pretty sure anybody applying knowledge, gaining knowledge, it's very easy. And I don't think it really matters about having a diploma or anything or any type of stuff like that. I think if anything, the parameters of school and college and those things really kind of prep you to go work for someone else, to be honest. And that's just my opinion. I've done some school. I was in the military for a while. I've, like I said, I'm an entrepreneur myself. So a lot of times too, I think about high school and school. What happens is just you to be able to work with other people seamlessly, to answer, to do certain things, to get up and go, to ask permission to do things. That's kind of see the construct. If you go off to college, you get a little bit more in-depth experience, but for the main part, I feel like that's really what school is about, just to get you to play nice with others, to understand how to interact with other people during the daytime, and to get used to spending those 8 hours a day in some type of setting. Sitting down in a room with other people, get used to it. So that's what it is to me. It's just prep work. So for those who decide to venture out and do their own thing, like I said, that's something that's not taught. I mean, I don't know. You can think about the people who go to college for business-related stuff. I used to say this all the time. If these professors and stuff were so great at business, why aren't they running their own companies? You know what I mean?
Good point.
So again, that's the thing you have to keep in mind.
Right.
I always say think outside the box. It doesn't matter what you're taught on paper. That's great. Until you're willing to apply it and actually do it means absolutely nothing. Yeah, and again, like I said, you have these professors. They're great at what they do. They teach kids. But again, why are you not running some multi-billion-dollar company? If you were that, you know what I'm saying? So everything take it with a grain of salt. But the biggest thing I can tell everybody is you have to get out there and you have to do it. You have to make the mistakes. You have to walk the line. You've got to do the things that you want to do. Otherwise, you'll sit back there 10 years later saying, "Hey, I wish I did." Well, your buddies over there did, and they ended up here. But so that's. Yeah, on that note, I'll go ahead and back off so you guys can kind of chat some more. But I'm just going to sit here in the background listening to you guys. But yeah, so I'll turn off that.
Yeah, you share a lot of good ideas. Yes, thank you. Merlin, would you like to continue? Let me give you a microphone.
Sure. There's several different criteria to build on and build off of to advance in life. I could go, what comes to mind is, the people I associate myself with. I associate myself with people that are thinkers, and we discuss things, and I listen to their opinions, and then I can draw off that better help me. I might go to a friend and say, listen, I got this situation where I just bought this, and I don't know if I should take it and try to move it through this means, or if I should take it over here and sell it this way. And their opinions are valued because they're intelligent people. And I have, traveled in circles where I meet people that, potentially could be friends, and I associate myself with them. I don't like to be around people that bring me down, that potentially could drag me down. I'd rather associate myself with people who lift me up, and that's important too. So in a business, people that work for you, you want to make sure that they're, good thinking people and they're on the same page you're on, and use work as a team cohesively to get things done.
Good point.
It's a big part of it's a big part of the big picture. It's not just the education. It's not how much street smarts you have. It's not how ambitious. It's all of it put together, and then for you to be motivated to take chances and get
Put
out
yourself
there.
out there. Yep.
Yeah, exactly, and get things done. Go ahead. I'll let somebody else talk.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. And you see, I think this event is actually starting to look like that puzzle that we're talking about, like those different factors. Yeah, I agree with you. The connections are really, really important. I think some people say that if you have 5 successful friends, you're going to become the 6th one. So yeah, I think connections are really important because people inspire you. They can just help you sometimes, and like it gives you that leverage of different actives that you can use in your future, entrepreneurship, ventures or anything else. Good advice, good information, good support. And just like the example of people who are more successful and keen on doing things, that's great. And yeah, maybe also if you don't have friends like that, maybe we can start, by reading books and kind of imagining yourself by those successful people on their way to success. So yeah, that also helps.
If you can read.
Well, hopefully. Okay, so does anybody want to share? Okay, Paul, Ultra Funky. Yeah, Ultra Funky, you had a hand raised very recently. Would you like to add something?
Yep.
Oh, great. There you go.
Yeah, I just wanted to put a dimension on the thing that Merlin said, and I agree with him. I agree with him what he said 100%. But when I take that a step further, I mean, I don't know if you heard the said your best friend is your worst enemy. And just to make an example, is like this: you playing bridge every Sunday with a friend, and then you just decide that you want to do something different. So you say like, "Oh, I want to go skydiving," and the friend like, "Oh no," and the friend is thinking, "Oh, I'm going to lose my bridge partner. I'm not going to be able to play the cards with this person." So this person says, "No, no, 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 it's dangerous. You can die if you start jumping out of planes, that kind of stuff. No, 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 no. You better stay here and play cards. It's much safer." And you say, yeah, this person is correct. Maybe it's safer to stay here. I'm not going to do something new, crazy like this. Yeah. So the story or the value in this is that you can have friends, you can have people around you, but sometimes you when you learn something to a certain way, amount that you start to get equal, maybe they're gonna make you get stuck in the same wheel, and you won't get any fresh meat or blood into the pot. So even if you have a lot of good people around you, I'm not saying that they're bad in any way, but they're also going to be stopped at being value have a higher
Valuable?
value for you. This is valuable. Yeah, thank you, Nancy. So I'm just saying, not being bad in some way, but we also have to think further. So I'm 100% with you, Merle. Everything you said was 100% correct, but I say maybe later on the road we always have to change, and maybe we have to look for a greener grass or better hunting grounds later on. Just saying, like, I don't think that's a static thing. When you have people around you, you have to, like an entrepreneur, all the time make people work with you and join your adventure. That's what I'm just saying. I just wanted to say that.
No, thanks for sharing.
You're right. You're very true. I mean, that's right. As a matter of fact, I've had some good friends that I no longer am in touch with them because some choices that they made where we didn't see eye to eye. And when you have friends and you have people that, whether it's business acquaintances or just friends in general or family people, you evaluate what they say, and then you take your experience and you take from what they say You don't take it wholeheartedly. You don't go ahead and just assume that they know what they're talking about. You you listen with respect and say, hey, but I'm going to double check your information because, you might not tell them that because you don't want to make them feel bad, but you always double check. You always make sure. You can't take anybody,
Откуда-то запах, блин, есть.
just take it with a grain of salt and say, okay, they're just wonderful people and everything they're telling me is true. Yeah, you got to balance all that out and you have to be smart. You got to be your person that is going to, put it all in your head, program it, and you utilize the information just like you would reading a book or getting something on the internet. A lot of books put out information, and it's not necessarily factual in some respects. If it's a, it all depends. A documentary, whatever. The internet gives false information at times. You have to police everything and everybody to be, to take a good, educated, sometimes assumption on how you want to proceed forward in a situation. It's not just other people's, there's a lot that goes into it so you can move forward, whatever it is you're doing.
Thanks for sharing. I'm always glad to see some hand raises from ladies. So Madame A or Madama, would you like to add something? Let me give you a megaphone. Hold on. There you go. There.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi.
Nice to be here.
Welcome.
Hi. I had, let's see, Merlin. Yes, I agree with what you said. I also agree with Ultra Funky Claves, and I'd like to add to that to say that in today's society, a lot of people are after the money. I mean, you see that in the big corporations just trying to gain their bucks, and we don't even have food, and all its prescriptions and everything that's going on in today's society is just about the big corporations and their money. And it's like when you have a small business, as I do, I work from home, and I didn't always do that. I took my career and I said, the way that you're running your business isn't right. I'm taking it away from you and I'm doing it my way. And I work from home and I have the mentality that I give extra, whether I have it or not. And that brings me back the people to my business. We'll only go to you, I hear a lot. You're the only person we'll go to. You're the only one that understands. You're the only one that this and that. And, we're just loyal. That loyalty of people when you are good to them. The loyalty is just, it's like none other that's in today's workforce. And I hear so much about we're just out to make our money. We got to make our money. We got to pay our bills. But if you turn around and say, I don't want to be treated that way, I want to be treated as the mom and pop store would treat me, even though I'm growing and I'm big, I'm doing what I like and I'm doing it well. And at the end of the day, I don't have to apologize for not taking your ideas or for not doing it the way that I'm fearful that I won't have a client, or I'm fearful of anything, because I'm doing what's right in my soul and my spirit to grow my business, to be good to my neighbor and give them the best quality they can have for the amount that I can put into it. And I think that is the best way to do business and to gain loyalty and respect and have a continual flow of income.
That's great. Thanks for sharing. It's like I believe that you have very powerful, interrelationship, this, valuable quality that now I'm sad that a lot of businesses that kind of exclude these, qualities, because if you want to make money, you mostly have to step on somebody's, throat, I guess. And I think that finding a business and like starting that business that actually is ecological, they say, but in Russian, I mean, in English, maybe there's a different word, that is win-win. Like for you, it's good, and for people, it's something that is not the product itself, but the feelings that they get, that they're understood, that they're trusted, that they are being treated, fairly. I think the world needs a little bit more of that. And hopefully the future is going to have the society where people are more like, it's going to be more decentralized. In contrast with what we see today, that large corporations have a lot of power, and the more power they get, the more influence they bring, and that influence is not very good. I think that Facebook is one of those examples that I have, like that I don't trust those people. I use their products a lot, and they are good and they're helpful, but those principles that lie in behind those things and actions, that I think is very important, and hopefully in the future we'll have more of that. Yep. So anybody else would like to share? I see some hand raises. Merlin, would you like to add something extra? Ultra Funky? Hold on. Yeah, let me give a megaphone to Ultra Funky Claves. That's fine. I think there are just 4 hand raises. Paul, Madame A, Merlin, and Ultra Funky. So.
Okay.
Merlin.
So Madame A, I'm gonna be a little bit tough. So you stop me if you don't want to listen anymore. So I'm going straight on you to you, and it's like this. I hear an entrepreneur when you talk, and I also hear that you've been employed. And I guess the way you talk, that you are not making as much money into your pocket being your own as you did when you were employed. Maybe you make more money, but that goes away in taxes and every way, whatever it goes, because the taxes to the government and so on. I can be wrong here, but I get the feeling. And presuming those things, I can be totally wrong. I get the feeling that you are a person that do things. You value your time higher being your own than being employed. The way you talk. How should I explain this? You are. I want to go somewhere with this. Is like that you have chosen the thing I want to say. You have chosen a simpler life than you had before. Am I correct in presuming these things?
I didn't gather that. She said.
Yeah, no. I'm with this. The things that you chose, the path you've chosen, because you say that you talk about loyalty and you value that, and then you're valuing loyalty and the more simpler way of doing business than just chasing the money and being like just wanting to get the money, all the money you can get from people. And the point I just want to make is that haven't you chosen a simpler life beyond the path you have taken? So this was like I was jumping, and I just wanted to. The thing I wanted to say is that. No, I'm not saying it easier. I'm just saying that choosing a simpler way, in the way that you're how do you say? It's not so much like calculating economically. Is this correct? Is that correct? You're going more by your heart, doing things. Yeah, more rewarding.
Well,
and that is, gets a little bit simpler. I just want to get that.
It comes along the lines of the old simple analogy of, are you going after the love of money or are you going after the love of happiness? And those are the only two choices. And happiness wins out every time for me. And I believe
that's what I hear.
If we are honest with ourselves, we are striving to actually gain perspective in our lives where we're happy, and the majority of people think that money will buy that, which money doesn't buy happiness. So you have to actively pursue your happiness and you will be successful. Is that what you're trying to get at?
Yeah, I'm standing 100% behind that. The thing I just want to hear, because when you talk, I just want to perceive with people that's around here that the choices you have made have had made probably a big impact in the way you lived before and how you live now. It is like it's not so easy to take that step, but it's so rewarding to do it. You with me? I'm just like I don't know if I can convey this, but I hear so much beautiful things when you talk. I get the feeling that I understand where you're coming from, what you have chosen. I'm just saying like um, I don't know if maybe I'm destroying this conversation, but I'm just saying like there is something when you talk that says that the more true you're to yourself and the people around you, the more rewarding it's going to be, and that's an important thing. That's just the thing I wanted to get with the things you said before. That's why I asked you the questions, and
thank you.
I understood you correct.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
sorry, I'm not going to.
That's fine. That's
I will
fine.
address Paul Laugh and what Paul Laugh had said as well, with it not being easy, because it definitely is not easy. I have people tell me that I can't do things the way that I want to do them in my own business because I'm not going to make money. And I'm like, well, this person needs this, and I'm not going to turn my back on them. This is what I'm going to give them. I'll give them out of my pocket, and they'll return it because I believe they'll return it. And I am, without getting into anything else here, I believe that what I believe will happen, and it does. So
Self-fulfilling
it's not
property,
easy.
prophecy.
It's hard work for sure, Paul. Like you were saying, it's hard work, and it goes against the grains of what is embedded in society today. So you're kicking against the grain, but it's definitely rewarding. Yes.
Can I ask you a question? What is the exact business that you have on the internet? Can you hear me?
I work from home. I have clients that come to my house.
Oh, okay. Okay, so are you a massage therapist?
I work
In hair?
work-
You do hair?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Or you might not want to divulge the information. I understand. That's not that important. It's not that important. It just shows, depending on the type of business that you're running, how you do your sales work. If you advertise, there's a lot that goes into it. I'm sure you know. From what I gathered from when you were talking, is you seem like a very bright and intelligent young lady with a lot of drive and energy and positivity. And the fact that you don't listen to these people, the fact that you go ahead and you think outside the box and you say, no, I'm going to do this, and you're not going to let anybody else influence you. That's, to me, tells me a lot about you, and I believe that you'll be successful. You just can't give up, and you got to keep trying and pushing forward and work on your advertisement skills, and whether you invest or whether you just go out and communicate with people personally, find an avenue to reach out to people with your personality, and you'll grow your brand.
Again, I'm gonna have to side with Paul over here. I have never advertised a day in my life. I refuse to buy into the concept that I need to do that. I don't need somebody from online that lives 1,000 miles away because my clientele come to my house. So I do all of my advertising by word of mouth. Yes, sir.
Yeah, there's a lot of advertising that can be done right within the confines of your city or your area. So
and again,
you have
that goes back to being able to be and take pride in the work that I do and give that extra that I have and treat my individual clients and neighbors and persons that are human beings with respect and compassion, and give them what they need and provide a service that is well above what they expect. And I am just astounded beyond belief the amount of success that I have had. And yes, I do make a lot more money than I did working for somebody.
Oh, nice.
Well,
Oh,
you
that's
didn't
good.
give us
Okay.
that impression in the beginning. You know?
Yeah, go ahead, Maru. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna re-enter. I can't hear.
Here represent what's world. There is no equity,
Yeah.
and that is why
You
some
make
people are way, way
good
ahead,
point.
and some people are
Yeah.
way, way, way behind. End of my
There's a
comment.
thing
Thank
called
you.
the price
Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
or the
Yeah,
money.
even in developed countries, there's a
Those
large
that
difference.
have will be given. Yeah. Yeah. And to quote the Bible, it's a massive principle. Those that have will be given. I think it's called the parietal principle as well. You know, it's sad but true.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree.
So
Can you say that again? You did have a lot. Can you say that again, Paul?
I think it's something called the parietal principle or the Matthew principle, as in the
I put
Bible.
a bucket in the driveway so nobody rides up it.
Those that have will be given. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Money make money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Money makes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing. But I would like to say something about the fact that none of us are self-made people, men, women, avatars. We're all reliant on what comes before. You know, the builder is reliant on the person that makes the bricks. The person that makes the
Right.
bricks is the person reliant on the person that dug the clay. The person that dug the clay is reliant on the person that created the tool to dug the clay, and back it goes. So there's no such thing as a self-made person.
Yep.
Without effort, yeah.
I don't know. I came pretty close.
Well, if somebody hadn't built the house, you would not have been able to bought it.
Well, I built my house by myself, and I did almost everything myself.
But you didn't make the bricks. You didn't make the tools to make the
It doesn't
house.
have
You
brick.
back.
It was a pole
Oh,
barn.
but you didn't
it's a
make the wood. You
concept
didn't chop
he's
the
talking
wood.
about.
Yeah, you know what?
Concept.
The concept is that yes, you can. Somebody's got to help with something, but you can do a lot on the concept that I was putting forward. Was that yes, but you don't need a lot. You don't need a lot of things from a lot of people to be successful.
It depends on what you do, really, but it was a concept.
Yes,
Elon Musk,
I agree.
cannot,
It depends on what you do.
Elon Musk cannot be the world #1 billionaire if he didn't have people to build the rockets. He cannot build the rockets all by himself.
Someone created the science to build the rockets, to build them,
if we all did,
the math to build the
have an
science.
account on Facebook.
You're right.
There's a concept, yeah.
Yeah.
Paul Simon, what is the difference in the way that businesses are run or the way that your success is gotten down where you're from? What do you notice?
Well, I think you came in a little bit late because I was actually in the circle and I did talk about Marlene, will you kindly mute yourself when you're not speaking because you really got bad, feedback coming in.
Yeah.
I do apologize. I did come in late.
No, it's all right.
No problem.
No problem,
What I'm trying to say is in Africa, just like in the rest of the world, we also have the real estate. And I'm part of it because when the Westerners come to Africa They like to live in prime areas. They like to live in areas which is considered more private. Why so? You ask because they come here with their dollars and with their pounds, and their money is much stronger than the local currency. So I give an example of a pastor who actually who actually comes from Maryland, Baltimore, and in the U.S. is under the program which you call we call people who don't work in the U.S. and they are given some money by the government.
Medicaid, or
is it Medicare or
The stimulus
Yeah,
checks. I think that was the word that you were
there was a
looking.
stimulus
welfare.
check.
Yeah.
Welfare.
Stimulus check.
Yes, the welfare. That's it. That's it. He is also done the welfare of the United States, and he also get the stimulus checks, or used to get the stimulus checks during COVID. And what he used to do, he was actually he has now come to Africa 4 times, and he keeps telling me the reason why he comes to Africa is because the money he's getting in his welfare and in his stimulus check, he is able to live a middle income ish life of a Westerner. Whereas when he is back in the US, he'll be considered poor, nothing. And that's a concept we have here in Africa. The Westerners come in, they come with their dollars. The Russian comes in with their ruble. See how I know the currencies? Because
Yes,
when
yes,
I'm
ruble.
starting business, they're gonna say I'm gonna convert a million rubles into Kenya shillings, and you get what I'm saying. The pound,
Yeah.
the British they
Yeah,
come
the
down here.
exchange
Is that a
rate.
net benefit? Is that a net
Let me finish.
benefit to
Let me
Kenya,
finish
people
this.
coming in, or is it
Let me
disadvantage?
finish this.
Go on.
If $1,000, you actually get 100,000 Kenya shillings. 100,000 Kenya shillings. Now, that person in the US cannot buy, for example, a bungalow, what you call a mansion in the US, because probably those are houses that go into millions of shillings. But you get the same house in Nairobi for about, say, 30 million Kenya shillings. Divide that by 100. What is 30 million divided by 100? I think that be 30,000. Is it? Is it not? 30 million divided by
Well,
100.
it's the same in different parts of England. You move from London up north, you can buy a house for a quarter of the price. It's not just moving to a different country, but
Yeah,
moving to
if
different
you are
parts of
talking
one's own
about
country.
you, the concept you're talking about is the distance from the urban area. Of course, houses will cost more near the cities and cost less further away. But I'm not talking about that. Here is what I'm talking about. A house in Ipswich, for example, in the United Kingdom, how much would it cost? A very modest house.
At
Go ahead,
The,
Paul.
the average house price
£100,000.
is about 350,000.
All right.
Average house price.
Thank you. 350,000. Can you multiply that by
Pounds.
150 for me to convert that
No.
in Kenya shillings? All
But,
right.
my
All right.
question
It's
is,
all right. It's
how
all right.
does the local population
Let's
feel
get to it.
about that in
There's
Kenya?
something I want to show you.
Yeah.
Give
That's
me
what
the
I
number
want.
again
Understand
that
you
you
can
gave
buy
me.
a
I'm
lot
gonna do
more.
a quick. I'm gonna
I know.
I'm gonna do a quick math. Can you
Say
give me the number that you gave
300,000.
me?
I understand you can buy
You
a
said
lot more
350.
in other countries, and then perhaps if
That's
you went from
that's the
Kenya
point.
to parts of India, you could buy a lot more. I
If
don't know.
if you bought such kind of a house in Kenya, the 300,000 pounds house, that would be buying the state house in which the president himself lives in. That's the
Yes.
equivalent. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's funny. Very good.
I have a question.
How does the population in Kenya feel about that? People coming in with a lot of money. I mean, when we have the Russians coming in buying out our football clubs, we kick them out
Oh man,
eventually.
I'm telling you. I
Run
know
with
it's the
it.
Chinese. They are on to us. This Chinese attack. What they're doing is they're constructing big skyscrapers filled with apartments, and they're actually selling them. That's the point I was talking about earlier. I'm a realtor, and I sell these houses to the Westerners. But in my mind, in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, this year I've sold to 20 Westerners. What is gonna be left of us?
That's what
Where
my
will we
point
gonna
was.
go?
Damn.
That's my
And
point.
that's why I told Azi that I have a feeling that at the end of the story, all the Africans will be in the US and in Europe, and all the Americans will be in Africa. All the British will be in Africa. And all the Europeans will be in Africa. And all the Africans will be in the US.
So I have a question about, how things are done down there. It can't possibly only be that you're successful from other people's money from out of state.
No, of course not. That's what I'm trying to say. That we do have farming. Have very the farming here is really, I can say it's very profitable because
Oh,
first of all, most of
Good
the African
agriculture.
countries are agricultural
Yeah.
based
Every
countries.
yeah. Can I
mineral
make the
that's
point
profitable is in
that
Africa.
Yeah, personally, I do earn a lot from the farming, also from the
yeah?
minerals. Gold and
I'd
diamond
like to
are
make a
mined
point about farming.
in Africa. Right.
That's a brilliant example of being dependent on other people. No farming, no life. So really, it's the farmers who are the most important people.
Yeah. Right.
So we undervalue
You're
them.
very right. You're very right. And what I did myself, that's why I told you I'm refusing to leave Africa because I didn't want to be the last African to leave Africa. I want to compete the businessmen who are coming here to Africa, and they are big. Even
Yeah.
Trump himself has interest in Africa. People like
Ah,
Barack Obama, who are actually Kenyan, they are bringing in a lot of big gun investors from the US. Uh,
Yeah.
the reason why I would say that I love the grind is because, for example, what we do as a non-profit is we take a million Kenya shillings. That's about $10,000, and
Damn.
invest
Yeah.
it in a farm, and this farm will employ poor mothers. They're gonna come in the farm, earn about $5 shillings a day, and they are able to bring food on the table. And every farm employs like 10 women, and that kind of give also a bit of capital for them to start small businesses. The
Yeah,
ripple effect
socially responsible
goes on and
businesses.
on and on.
yeah. You
Yes.
mentioned Donald Trump. There's a very interesting video, and you may not believe this, the young Donald Trump being asked what's the secret to his success. And he said one word, luck. You can check it out on YouTube. He's being interviewed. That is what he said. He doesn't say that now, but it's me. But
And he's
no, that
lucky
was
being
one
born by
word.
a
He said
billionaire.
luck. Born,
He's
yeah,
lucky being
born,
born by a
Yeah.
exactly.
billionaire.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I get
You know,
my
there's a joke that says Larry King made a joke about Donald Trump when they had the roast comedy on Trump. He said that I admire Donald Trump because of his hard work. He was born, he put his grind on his shoulder, took $20 billion from his father, and started a business.
Exactly.
So
Go
the
ahead.
joke
What
is
was you
the
saying,
joke
madam?
is didn't grind. It was just given money.
Yeah. What was you saying, madam? I didn't hear you.
I was saying that in the business that I have, I purchase my product from Africa, actually, and I have it shipped over here. But it took me, like you were talking about the family over there, because the women who send me, I get shea butter from Africa, and the women who send me that, the proceeds go toward funding more improved programs for the women that are down there. So, yeah, it's another way that they
That's cool.
do their finances and start their businesses there.
Yeah, socially responsible
It
business
is.
is really important. I think that's one of the ways to kind of try to equalize the world in economical way, so that way people in poor countries can get at least some flow of money. And yeah, of course they're not going to get rich, but at least those who are really poor can get a little bit more, they can sustain themselves. Okay, I have another announcement. It's midnight in Russia, so our event is officially over. You can stay for an after party and continue the conversations. The space is gonna be here for another hour or so. So yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
let
thank
me.
you guys for
I
coming
think,
to the video. Everything.
I think sometimes that
Nice to meet you. Oh yeah, you can follow us on Instagram. Our Instagrams are
I
right there. I
think
don't know if they
sometimes
have that where you guys are.
Yep, and our channel over there. If you get to the channel, there's a there's the Discord channel.
I'm sorry, I've not been here before, so
Mhm.
am I doing something wrong?
No, nothing wrong. We just like we're wrapping up with the event, so yeah, sorry, we were interrupting.
Oh, okay. Fair
I
enough.
added you
Yeah.
as a friend.
Okay.
What were you gonna
I'll
say, KK?
Yeah,
we'll
what
leave
do you
it
want to
that
say?
then.
Oh, no, go on. What?
Yeah, the after party is just starting, so you can go ahead and tell us what you wanted to say.
Okay. The only thing I was gonna say is
personal.
it's
I'm listening.
certain countries and stuff with
Oh, I love the debate. So
with the
that
aid and all the
wasn't
rest
even
of it.
close
Sometimes
to-
you can't help certain
It wasn't even
countries
close to being
because
a debate.
their political system is so screwed, and it's
Definitely love that you have
no matter how
your
much
own
money you
opinions,
plow
and
into it,
I want to
it's
hear
it's
them,
gonna
and
it's gonna go into the
that's
wrong
how-
hands,
that's
and it's
how we
really
improve
sad. It's really really sad.
Well, still
You
something
know,
gets
the people that need it necessarily don't get it, only get or only get a very
Madame,
small
Can we
percentage
jump
of
over
it.
there? The way to
That's all I was gonna say.
I kind
it's
of
not
want to
just
be
that,
in
KK.
this conversation. So.
But yeah, so you're giving